Hello and welcome to Profiles in Risk. This is your host, Tony Cañas, struggling with my camera right now. What's going on? Okay.
I know, yeah, you got all foggy. There you go.
Yeah.
Now you're here.
So I've got a really nice camera with a really nice lens, but apparently today it's struggling to find me. There we go.
There you go.
It allows me to blur my background, but if it's not right on me, I'm blurry. Okay, let's try this again. Hello and welcome to Profiles in Risk. This is your host, Tony Cañas, and today I have with me Jocelyn Getson, Chief Growth Officer at Bindable. Jocelyn, thank you for joining me today. How's it going?
Oh, it's going well. And how are you? I hear you're back from vacation. So
Correct.
welcome back from that.
Yes, I'm doing fantastic. Just got back from Israel, Jordan, and Palestine. It was a very fun week. So yeah,
you're doing better than me then. That sounds amazing.
In a fantastic mood. It's been a good week. It's been a good week. And I'm not jet lagged anymore as of like yesterday. So just we always give the guests the chance to give the elevator pitch for their company. So what is Bindable?
Yeah, so Bindable is considered a leader in the Insurtech space for alternative distribution. So alternative distribution being one of those big, broad terms that encompasses everything from embedded insurance, affinity, sponsored distribution, whatever term you want to use. It's essentially giving brands and carriers the opportunity to sell through brands, to sell insurance products through kind of non-traditional insurance channels. So what that looks like in a go-to-market space is Bindable has two models to try to simplify it. Our two models are one of them being a true SaaS platform. So what we do is we actually sit in the middle of the distribution arm and the products. So we will take fully ready APIs. So we are not building products over here. We are taking ready fixed APIs. We technically are product and carrier agnostic. So that means we can do commercial, we can do personal lines. Today we are really focused on personal lines. So we have a selection of auto, home, everything from pet insurance, home warranty, life insurance. We work with a lot of different carriers. I think we have integrations with 40 plus carriers for those products. So we ingest their APIs, we have them ready to go to show quotes. And then those quotes are displayed either through white label sites that we build. So I think we power over 500 unique instances of different digital front ends for quote display for the true customer journey. And then we also are able to embed. So we have a single point API to actually embed a quote in another relevant journey. But we're really the kind of the tech behind it. So we're powering the sites, and everything that's being put in the front end is actually also being pulled into what we call Policy Crusher, which is our agent-facing software. So essentially, we create an omni-channel experience for insurance. Consumers can start on the front end, entering their information, or maybe a brand already has some great information and data about that customer. They're able to show quotes, and the agent is able to jump into that sale at any time. So if there are quote to bind options, which we all love, fantastic, consumer can go quote to bind. But if there's questions, or maybe that API is not quote to bind, an agent can jump in. So the model is being able to license. So if our partner has their own appointments, has their own agency, they license the entire platform. The other and kind of newer and interesting area that we're seeing a lot of growth in is what we call insurance as a service. And insurance as a service is where we really provide a fully branded insurance solution. So that means the front end would look just like I just described, could be great fancy websites, could be an API embedded in a journey. But behind the scenes, it can be our agents. So Bindable has an agency logged in and are actually scripted to answer the phone as that brand. So if you're a national brand, maybe, and I'm using examples, not clients, but a Zillow or Credit Karma or any of these type of new entrants to the market, they can really start day one, hit the ground running, and start offering insurance by just creating the call to action, and the rest is being handled by the license agency. And so it gives them a really nice opportunity to test and learn. So that's a lot, but that's covers a lot of ground.
Okay. So embedded, affinity, sponsored, Okay, so when I think embedded, I think I buy the product, insurance already part of it.
Right.
Best example being Tesla having, I don't know if they still do offer it, but basically letting you buy the car and including
Yes.
the insurance, right? Okay, so if I'm a brand produces something that gets insured afterwards, I can embed the insurance on it through you guys.
So great. Okay, so great point, because you're right. Like, you can break it down further. So embedded, you're right. Embedded can be like a warranty and insurance that's built into the product because you're the manufacturer of the product. So you're insuring that risk on your own, like a Tesla. That's truly where it's embedded in the purchase. So there's not a separate cost for it. We're not there in the US to really the extent. I think, we'll see more and more of these, the different manufacturers taking that on. But today, embedded, when I say it, I do tend to add an embedded in a journey. So that is more of the relevancy of the offer versus it coming bundled together with the product. So in other words, I'm applying for rental application to rent an apartment. You need homeowner or renter's insurance.
Renters.
So making that offer in the middle, like you've already put in all of this data to fill out your application, showing a quote at that time and saying, you need renters. Did you know you could get renters from XYZ carrier for whatever it is a month? Or
and here's your quote, yeah.
And here's your quote. Or I am buying my house and I'm refinancing my mortgage. You need to show evidence of your homeowner's insurance. I've already put in more than enough information. That's when you want to show the quote. So embedded in a relevant journey is a good distinction.
Perfect.
Because you're absolutely right.
I love the example of the apartment. Yeah, because we've had several apartments. Most of the time, basically it's, hey, you're required to have renters.
Yeah.
Here's a business card if you don't already have it, right? But it is not in any way, which is really funny because we're filling the application online.
Yeah, you're filling it online and you're giving them more than enough. Yeah,
exactly.
Why would you not? And now you've disrupted. They always talk about Insurtech disrupting insurance. It's the opposite. It's like the current experience is actually very disruptive. It's just disruptive to the consumer. So how do you streamline that, make it less disruptive to the consumer, and give them that offer? And by the way, when you're filling it in and you say, oh, and I have a dog, because that's a question on a rental application, you should also get pet insurance. So really capturing the data and responding with relevant offers. That's the key. Yeah.
Okay. Then affinity. Okay, so in my mind, affinity is something like the alumni association from my university offering me insurance, right? Okay, so historically that was like, I get a letter in the mail for, right, and then call the 800 number. So basically, using Bindable, my alumni association, I happen to be Iowa State twice, undergrad and MBA. They could use you guys to set up the website.
So great example. And so here's what we do. So Bindable was founded in 2009. So we've actually been powering alumni and marketing, affinity marketing for decades, and it's or not, for over a decade, I should say. And that's actually our founder. The roots are really in the alumni associations and the affinity marketing space. What happened though is we had one of our carrier partners who said, listen, I have all these affinity groups. Can you help me create these digital front ends? We have one very large carrier who we power. I think it's probably a couple hundred sites at this point for them, for different alumni and organizations. So Bindable's not going directly looking for that alumni association, because there is a healthy combination still of direct mail and digital engagement. Maybe you put the QR code on your direct mail now to drive them to the website, but we're still facilitating the affinity distribution. We're just powering our partners and they're licensing our SaaS platform, and they have their agents in there. and they're maybe spinning up hundreds of these affinity sites to really dominate that space. But you're right, like there's been an evolution in affinity, and it is more digital. Still, though, is a healthy balance of direct mail in that space. Not something we do. We focus on the digital.
Okay. Sponsored. That one, I truly have no idea.
You know, it's one that is kind of thrown out in different ways, but sponsored could be using affinity and trademarks. So essentially like a non-licensed brand allowing you to sort of co-brand. To me, it's evolved really to the more of the embedded or just true kind of lead fill. But usually sponsored in the past has been where you're actually paying to use of logos and marks. But there's a real move by a lot of these brands to either become licensed themselves so they can actually share in commissions, and it becomes a much more embedded or integrated experience for that selling process. But yeah, sponsored is a little bit more up there with affinity in terms of how that would work, and it's evolving into the extent. Yeah.
Okay, and you mentioned Policy Crusher, which is the agent facing system. So tell me about Policy Crusher. How can agents benefit from it?
So agents, so it's actually one that we built ourselves for our own agency back in for years and years, have built this our Policy Crusher, which is a CRM for agents. So it's something that actually has lead management, allows you to have multiple sources of input coming in, and agents to be able to see where that quote or that customer originated from. Built within there, though, is even like local news and headlines and weather, so that agent, if they're on the phone with the customer, can actually engage and say, hey, Tony, oh, wow, I see, the Red Sox won, or the weather is whatever, and it's cold here. So we're really creating this kind of engagement tool with customers, and the agents actually binding that business or evaluating other quotes for the customer. There's auto and home. Obviously, we all love the idea of that quote to bind experience. There's still questions, though. If you think about it, you're buying a brand new car or even a used car, but you're financing it. You have to get insurance. You're usually going to still have a question and say, oh, I'm replacing this car because I had an accident. Or, oh, remember my last car, this went wrong. You're going to want to check with your new insurance company and say, hey, by the way, I have 3 scenarios. Would you cover this, this, or that? So the agent component, to us, the agent is equal to the customer experience. We need a great agent experience to deliver a great customer experience. We blend those together. So Policy Crusher is essentially a lead management CRM tool that allows that omni-channel experience, so that if the customer wants to talk, someone's there and they have the engagement tools that they need. And it's effective. We have, I think, about a 46% cross-sell rate when agents are using Policy Crusher. So that's typically auto and home bundles, but again, those ancillary product sales, it's effective. So
Policy Crusher doesn't replace the agency management system.
It does not. No, it sits sort of alongside of it. We have a webhook that can push real-time data into an AMS, or lots of different ways to get the data in and out as needed. But yeah, it does a lot up to that point. But the policy download, it's not storing it today.
Okay, perfect. So it collaborates with the AMS.
It does, yeah. And it also collaborates, like if you have existing customer data. So this is the key part, is the way I'm describing it, it makes it sound like your customer always has to go in and enter all this endless information. But if you already have customer data, if you're a carrier that wants to cross-sell other products, or if you're, again, a digital brand that wants to start
every
selling,
carrier.
Then use the API, do some basic lead fill, and you're able to actually like get the customer's information in there without bothering them. Send them a link that's just showing them, verifying their information. So lots of easy ways to make it simpler for the customer.
Yeah, every personal lines carrier that has more than one line. So very few exceptions are monoline. Every carrier needs to cross-sell.
They do, and I think what we're seeing, they do, and I think what we're seeing a lot of, which is interesting. So, back in the day, it was, a carrier only sold their products, right? That's it. I'm XYZ carrier. I have my auto and my home product. Or even today, you have Insurtechs that are monoline and in 20 states or 30 states. That's great. What I think the eyes are opening, and where the opportunity lies, is that to offer other carriers, because you don't write all the risk, and you're not live in every single state. And maybe you don't have a cross sell if you're a home monoline home carrier or Insurtech, and you want to cross sell auto. This is a perfect opportunity to do that without having to build your own product. Maybe you're getting data and insights like, is this a product that we think our customers would like? But so really kind of expanding that footprint of state access, of risks that they don't want to write, and creating a true choice marketplace. So that kind of choice of auto and home, because there's not one carrier out there that's one size fits all. They need to have other options. So customers are, that you can really ensure that your customers will have an option and that they don't lose that sale to a competitor. So, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Excellent. Any great customer stories?
Well, I think what is probably the most interesting is to see the I think especially carriers or brokers who they've been in the industry for 20 years, 30 years, in the actual company case, maybe hundreds of years, to really get their eyes open to the footprint that can be created by like activating getting a digital footprint out there, and that hesitation of jumping into the deep end of just getting out there and testing. And I think sometimes it can be overthought. They're like, oh, we need to build this and this. There's easy ways to test and learn with the digital tools out there, and they're very low capital ways to do that. So I really think seeing that adoption and that strategic business development where they can go after these national brands, they can think beyond alumni and think to, how could I work with more credit cards or credit unions? And so it's exciting to see that. And then balancing it with the fact that we do work with a lot of new entrants. We've worked with a lot of different Insurtechs, and we also work with a lot of just different, again, these digital brands that are out there that have a great digital marketing sense for whatever product they sell, whether it's financial services, whether it's some type of refinancing, could be rental properties, whatever it might be. They are really pushing the bar. So you kind of have this balance of people are going, oh, you know what, maybe we should jump into this, and others that are diving in the deep end, embedding offers right in their journeys, and getting very aggressive about how they offer. So it's interesting to watch sort of that come together. I equate what's happening to insurance very similar to what happened in retail when the advent of e-commerce came along. If you equate a brick and mortar retailer, who's always sold from their storefront, to a traditional agent who, is Main Street USA agent. When the online options came on, it was like, no one's going to buy, a sofa online without sitting on it. No one's going to buy, a BOP or, a auto policy without talking to me first. And then they realize, oh, you know what, maybe they still will buy from you, but they want to shop, they want to learn, you have an educated customer base. So not being afraid of that, but embracing it and really using it to your advantage is key. And carriers being empowered to give their agents those type of tools and giving them access to sort of new ways of thinking and new ways of growing your business, I think it's fun. It's really an exciting time for that.
How does that revenue model work? And I realize you've got different types of partners, right? You've got agents, you've got carriers. So starting on the agent side, how does the revenue model work, and what sizes of agents, what types of agencies are a good fit?
So we go out, who we typically work with is we do work with usually with carriers who have either, a captive agent base of their own, where they have a lot more say over what types of tools and resources. We absolutely work with a lot of brokers and have some great broker partners who are using that across their agencies, and then and going after new opportunities. And then, of course, the new brands. At the end of it all, Bindable is always making money on when our partners are selling policies. So we are premium driven. We're not an engineering firm. We have a lot of engineering capabilities. We're a tech company, but we're really about policy sales. So at the end of the day, the financial model is always going to come down to selling policies. So we're going to partner with people who we believe in their models, and we see the same opportunity that they do. We believe the conversion will be there. We're not a field of dreams of just, going, oh, well, let's just build it and see if they come. It's like, no, I mean, there's real ways to look at what's the market opportunity here. And we're sort of in it together. SaaS is always going to be a utilization type relationship. And if it's an agency relationship, it's commissions, so you're really, at the end of it, our models always will come down to making sure our partners are able to sell policies.
Okay.
And that's how it should be, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
I agree. Creating win-wins.
Creating a win-win, because we always joke, but we have skin in the game. We're in it together. And so it's not about signing a contract and, hey, see you later, good luck. I mean, we have an implementation team that's dedicated to our partner implementations. Then we have a relationship management team that they work with that are weekly, monthly, having these meetings. How do we calibrate? How does the marketing get better? Like, it's a real collaborative process. And I think it has to be in this environment that I don't think anyone's completely cracked the code on digital sales. I mean, there's not an Amazon of insurance. And so it's a test, learn, iterate, calibrate, all of that. And if you're not watching it and you're not continuously improving, you're going to be behind pretty quickly. So that's why I think we attract and win a lot of our partners, is because we're not only do we all have insurance backgrounds, and that's what we were kind of grown from, but it's also a matter of, really thinking through the business plan and helping our partners get there. One of our strategic investors and partners is through Swiss Re is iptiQ. And iptiQ obviously has some fantastic brands and engagements in Europe and overseas. And when they came to the US, they have their life product, and we're their P&C partner in the US. So that's been a fantastic partnership. So we always look at that. How can we work? NFP is another great example. Mark Ryder, who's the chief digital officer over there, he is fantastic and has really embraced digital insurance sales and leverages some of our tech to be able to bring that to market. So working with these big carriers and brokers and seeing how they're looking at the market, it's interesting. And to me, that's it's all about how do we get consumers engaged, get them trusting insurance, and get them buying it digitally. So
okay, you've worked for a couple of different Insurtechs.
I have.
What do you see coming in the next couple of years of Insurtech?
I think it's interesting. I think the tech side of things, what I hope and I think it will attract new talent if we really position it this way. I've said this before, but you look at Uber, and if you talk to anyone at Uber, no one at Uber would say, I work for a livery company. I work for a taxi company, right? They would say, I work for a tech company. And so I think attracting new talent that's less focused on insurance and more focused on tech and how you can use the tools available. And that's really going to come down to APIs. So the more comfortable carriers get putting their products, making them available on an API, being able to, ingest that information, more sharing of data, it's again, it creates such a better experience for consumers who just want the coverage when they have it. So what I hope is that you see that embrace of people being more open to share data, share systems, more integrations, and that's going to lead to sort of that ecosystem, another buzzword we haven't touched on, but that ecosystem. So we all start working together. There needs to be a lot more co-opetition where, yes, we could do the same thing, but you know what, we do this part of it really well, and you do this part of it really well. So let's stick in our lanes and come together behind the scenes and bring a more holistic solution. And I think that's what I'm hoping. And I am seeing it. We have partners that there could be overlap if we let it look or be that way. But the truth is that usually there's something that each partner can be really great at. And if you focus on that and that's your part, you end up delivering a better solution and hopefully selling more policies and having a better customer experience. So
okay,
yeah,
that's.
I think there's a lot of great tools and people. Like, let's bring those brains together. Yeah, high tide rises all ships. So
we definitely have seen just a ridiculous influx of great tools into the industry to the point that it's hard to keep track, and it's hard to figure out.
It is, and you feel bad sometimes. You look at the largest organizations out there, they do Insurtech days, and they're always investing and looking, and they have innovation arms. But to keep it all straight and to really know what's real, and to kind of, I think that's where we should be as individual organizations, taking upon ourselves to find kind of best in class partners that just deliver that solution. So you can come in and say, hey, like we do this part of it, but maybe we're not an AMS, or maybe we're not this, but here's ways that you can still solve for that without just like leaving it for them to figure out. So at least bringing recommendations. So yeah, I think it's a lot of stuff out there.
I agree that is very, very valuable.
Yeah.
The partners that are working out, pointing us to the other potential tools.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Anyway, great having you on. Thank you so much. It's been interesting. I love the energy that you bring to it, and how much you care about what you're doing. It definitely comes across. When this goes live, I'll tag you on LinkedIn. I'll include the link to Bindable. Thank you so much for coming on.
Appreciate it. Thank you, Tony. It was great.